welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, but it's very, very real. We're looking at science-backed habits that can literally change the physical structure of your brain. Yeah, it's one of the most incredible discoveries in modern neuroscience.
So let's start with this question. For, centuries, the answer was thought to be a pretty firm yes. The brain was seen as this fixed thing, like it gets set in stone after you're a kid. But modern science has just blown that idea out of the water, revealing a much more hopeful truth.
Right. So, that old myth of a static, unchangeable brain, it's been completely shattered by this concept called neuroplasticity. And this isn't just some theory, it's a huge shift in how we understand our own potential to grow, at any age.
So what exactly is neuroplasticity? Well, you can think of it as your brain's hidden superpower. It's this built-in ability to physically rewire itself based on what you do, what you think, and what you experience, day after day.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does this rewiring actually happen on a biological level? Because it's not magic, it's a real, tangible process that's driven by our daily actions and our core beliefs.
It really all boils down to this one simple but incredibly powerful principle. The more you use a specific pathway in your brain, whether it's for a thought, an emotion, or an action, the stronger and more automatic that connection gets. You're literally paving mental highways with repetition.
And this creates two totally different operating systems for your brain. With a fixed mindset, challenges feel like threats. But with a growth mindset, you embrace them, which strengthens the parts of your brain for resilience and learning. It really shows the powerful choice we have in how we frame our own lives.
So, here's the best part. We can actively build that growth mindset. It's not something you're just born with. Let's dive into the 7 daily habits that are basically a practical toolkit for this whole rewiring process.
All right, our first habit is visualization. Now here's the wild part. When you vividly imagine yourself achieving a goal, your brain doesn't really know the difference. Your motor cortex lights up just like you were actually doing it. You're training your neural networks for success before you even take the first step.
Habit number 2 is journaling, and this is a real workout for your brain. Just writing your thoughts down gets them out of your head, which helps calm down the amygdala. That's the brain's emotional center. It also gets the logical left side and the creative right side of your brain talking to each other. And you even get a little hit of dopamine when you track your progress. Pretty cool, right?
Habit 3 is a total mental game changer. Reframing failure. So instead of letting a setback trigger that "I'm a failure" threat response, you make a conscious choice to see it as a lesson. And every single time you ask, okay, what can I learn from this? You're weakening those fear pathways and building up the ones for resilience.
Next up, habit 4, mindfulness meditation. Now I know it can seem a little intimidating, but the science is crystal clear. You see that number? Starting with just 5 minutes a day can actually begin to physically shrink your amygdala, your brain's stress center, while making the part responsible for focus and decision-making thicker. Just 5 minutes.
Habit 5 is all about continuous learning. When you learn new skills, your brain releases this amazing protein called BDNF. As it says here, it's basically like Miracle-Gro for your neurons. It literally helps new brain cells grow and protects your brain against decline. So, keep learning.
And that brings us to habit 6, physical exercise. When you aim for about 150 minutes a week, you're doing so much more than just helping your body. You're boosting blood flow to your brain, releasing feel-good endorphins, and yep, you're triggering another surge of that critical brain growth protein, BDNF.
And our final habit, number 7, is gratitude. Our brains kind of have this built-in negativity bias. It's an old survival thing. But this simple practice actively retrains your brain to scan for the positive. And when you do that, you get a boost of chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin that make you feel good and more connected.
So what happens when you actually start combining these habits? Well, you don't just get 7 separate little benefits. You create this powerful, self-reinforcing feedback loop that can lead to some really profound personal growth.
See, each of these 7 habits in your toolkit actually makes the others stronger. Exercise reduces stress, which makes mindfulness easier. Journaling helps you reframe those failures we talked about. Continuous learning gives you more to be grateful for. It's a compounding effect that truly, over time, reshapes your brain.
The key takeaway from all this science is actually pretty simple, but it's also profound. Lasting change isn't some big dramatic event. It's the result of all the small, consistent actions that you choose to take every single day. This really isn't just theory. It's an invitation to become the architect of your own mind. The power to change, to grow, to learn, it isn't some abstract idea. Thanks to neuroplasticity, that power is quite literally in your hands.